All right, all right, all right. How's it going, everyone? How is it doing? How is it doing? How's it doing? How's it doing? uh, it's been so great. I've been itching to get on, but I'm constantly just trying to find almost like pressure to see like what kinds of things to like stream, like what kinds of games to get into. I know that one constant I have is being able to do visual novels and be able to read all of them. But I was wondering about like other things, like maybe RPGs. I know fighting games are something I enjoy, so I know on Sundays around June I'm gonna start doing like more Street Fighter streams, but going forward, I wanted to be able to add a Monday one, or at least a Tuesday one. I'm thinking maybe Tuesday more. By the time June comes around, I'm probably going to be opening up my stream to 3 days and having a June one, having maybe a one for Tuesday that I'd be able to work with. Wasn't sure which games to do, but I know with the capture card, I can definitely try to stream like some Fire Emblem, or at least that's something I have as a goal in mind. At the moment, I'll probably be steering towards maybe this. I know this week I'll probably be streaming on Monday. I'm not sure if Sunday is still up because it's kind of like one of those sort of like cozy weekends. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use that as an opportunity to relax or if I'm just going to like jump right into it. But I definitely want to do more streams, and I definitely want to use June as an opportunity to be able to expand my repertoire a bit more, especially if Street Fighter is going to be taking up a Sunday. I want to be able to incorporate maybe another extra day on there. Or if it's going to maybe take up a Tuesday, I'll see how it performs. But I know there's some exciting updates that I'm going to be bringing throughout at least the next couple months. I know I'm probably going to try to update my overlay. I'm definitely going to be seeing you all in a much different light once I get a certain something up and rolling, but it might still be another month or two before I can roll out some of the more exciting news. But aside from that, I was also able to, what's it called, play Strive a bit earlier. The new Asuka DLC is there, and I've been really curious because all the times I've seen that man, it's always like a shadow, or it's always like, oh man, like this is the guy who we're going to have to confront at some point. And then like I guess as we start to see him in the story mode, it becomes a little more complicated. You know, the state of that man, or who exactly is that man. And sometimes to some people that man is a different person than the that man that they had encountered at some point. Where I know Asuka's the one that Anji worked for, but like Happy Chaos is the one that destroyed Baiken's home. So it's like trying to alternate between those is always a lot of fun to be able to pick through. Speaking of Anji, I want to start playing with him a lot more. He's definitely like kind of skyrocketed as far as I know, like at least around the beginning when I was like, he does seem to have a kind of attachment. He really loves Baiken, but he also has like a penchant for like flirting with some of the dudes. But like I feel like it wasn't until like seeing the dialogue with Asuka where I was like, maybe I should take this more seriously. Maybe I should humor the idea of playing with him a lot more. Maybe as I start to do more fighting game streams, I can try to like incorporate like trying to learn like Anji in the process. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's definitely going to be very interesting. And on this stream, I'm going to be streaming Chapter 3 of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It's a very interesting game because it's mostly just going to be me reading quite a bit. But it's going to be me reading a bit about something that's really fascinating. I also need to be able to walk away for a moment because I forgot something. As it turns out, I keep forgetting my controller, so every time I open up like the game, it's just seeing more of me just losing the controller. But I will be up and running in no time. Previously, I'll probably run through it as I start to open everything up. Which is here. Yay! We are here, and we are loading this bad boy up. Because we had quite a tumultuous last episode. Previously on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are in a bit of a pickle because we have to defend this dude who's accused of killing this dude inside of like, I guess like a little like kind of, I guess minecart, like a cart, like a almost like a horse carriage. They call it, I believe, an omnibus, but he was accused of stabbing this guy in the omnibus. These three are the witnesses. And there is a person that we have to, apparently this is kind of like the Edgeworth, who is like a well-known prosecutor who's known for getting people killed in Great Britain in the 1900s. But from what I gotta do, I gotta make sure that this guy is declared not guilty. The bad thing is that the juror is definitely like trying to get Magnus like convicted. So they all believe in what Baroque von Zieks is doing. So everyone wants to like kind of declare him guilty, and almost the court, it's practically over at this point on a little bit of a technical level. But I was able to look at a secret hidden rule that says I get to grill the jurors to see if they're like, what's it called? If they're reporting their hatred for Magnus on a more honest light. But in the process, let me open this bad boy up. Let me go back. Let me get my water going. Let me get a little hydrate in so that I can start doing my voice stuff. Because one of the fun things about streaming this is what? The reading. Alright. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty in this world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Shit. Summation exams are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe we can prove vital in this trial. Not, it's an embarrassment what you're doing. Please, like, we tried to do that rule, but it's not right.
The defense petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination.
I was trying to do like a Richard Harris, like Dumbledore voice for the judge. It was like,
Oh, of course. 2 points for Gryffindor. 2 points for Van Zieks.
This is madness.
Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready?
Well, I'm not, there's no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so...
All members of the jury will be asked to explain what grounds they have reached their decision.
On what grounds?
You must all justify your decision and explain why we believe the defendant to be guilty. I know it's stupid, but it's on the books technically.
Oh, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot.
This is the most irregular, No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold it with all this justifying luck. That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. All right then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be an opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around.
So be it then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds in which you, the defendant, Magnus Begilded, guilty of the most serious crime.
Ooh, the flavor text is flavoring this day. The jurors' contentions.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him.
His little stretchy rose. It's so amusing.
Sniffer, sniffer. Sniffer, sniffer.
Yes! I'd synced it! I trust the driver. He has excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
I have simply typed in cohabited all of the statements made thus far, drawing a logical conclusion. You can't trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing the poor man on the floor is beggars belief.
I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully. Sorry. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was supposed to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant's guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you the more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they might become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear. I'm just citing what I read in British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present their united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Oh man, we're gonna start a fight club. Oh man. You know what this reminds me of? Those old like Renaissance paintings of like people like fighting each other in court. like some dude with like pantaloons just strangling some guy. You see their like wig flying off. You see some guy like holding up a pen as like another dude is like trying to throttle him. Like, this is what we could make. This is what we can inspire. We could be a part of history, guys. We can start the latest fight in the 20th century. Oops. Sorry. Hold on a second. I will... Sorry, there... I was trying to find something, and I wound up finding it. What's it called? Or at least I'm not sure where. But yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna go up now. I'm gonna click next. I see. So it's contradictions in what two or more jurors say that we're in Sorry, I'm a little thrown off. I need to stand up and stretch a bit. There we go. Get a little team. In a way, then, this is similar to the regular cross-examination. Oh shit! I suppose you're right. Yeah, it's that, oh, like, if you keep on badgering the jurors and they don't like it, then you're going to get a game over at some point. And this is just the game reminding you that's a thing. Find contradictions in their statements and pit them against each other to break them down. Alright, I think I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. I have to pull this off.
Can we start the proceedings, Counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal.
Yes, my lord. Ooh, like Sebastian.
Yes, my lord. I'm simply one hell of a defendant. Bochan, your tea is ready.
The defense rebuttal. Ooh, we're gonna rebutthole these jurors.
There was no one else inside the carriage. It has to be him.
I trust the driver. He has excellent memory. 4 passengers with a total pence. But does his ability to recall his takings at night really tell us how trustworthy he is?
I manage all the lordship's cash affairs, so I'm very particular when it comes to accounts.
I see.
A single penny can mean the difference between life and death, after all, can't it?
That's a saying in your country.
My point is, a man who minds his figures is a man you can trust. Those of us in service would swear to it.
Does that bench really need any more polishing?
So if a good driver says that Mr. McGilded did the act, I don't doubt him. The only task left to do is completely dispose of the rubbish.
Ah, no, wait a minute. One of the other jurors mentioned something about money, I think. Now would be a good time to listen carefully to the jurors' statements again. If you notice an inconsistency, I should expose it by pitting them against each other. Yes, let's see if I can do just that.
He stuck the chap.
Let's see. He did not mention money. If I keep doing this, you think he's gonna accidentally stab juror number 5?
Oi! Ah!
Oops, sorry about that. McGilda did it. I simply typed out this logical. You can trust the guild. Fair fares. We haven't raised the prices. Let's see about that.
Hold it!
That's how much it costs to take an omnibus?
That's right. As a guild master, I decided to set the policy for all drivers across the city. One fare, no matter what busy bus you take and how far you're going. We have to compete with the rise of motor cars, you see. Us coachmen have to take the stand together.
Motor cars, you say? You mean like motorsports?
Yes, and this murder is one of the buses is damaging to our cars. It's beyond the pale. It'll lead to a decline in passengers, you mark my words, and it's all that rascal's fault. He has to pay.
Is it a crime or is his buses he's more worried about?
Anyway, every member of my guild is reliable and trustworthy. So if the driver says he saw him do it, the fellow is guilty of sin.
Let's see. Pit. Ooh. We're gonna be working with pits. It's like my pits are S tier, as you might have seen on my social media. There is no one else beside him. Okay. The person that's into money and the person that's into money.
Round 1.
Fight!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
They do. Explain yourself, Counsel.
Me? Oh dear. What have I said?
I swear on Silver Blazer's mine and name, I haven't had the first idea what you're talking about.
According to the group testimony we heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus the night before. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares.
That's right. I have those precise details quite neatly in front of me.
And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence.
That's it. A fair and convenient price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated.
But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man, why? Why, bruh?
4 passengers pay 4 pence each. If they do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. None the richer. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
1 person's fare.
Yes, god damn it! In other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible that there is another passenger we've never heard about.
Oh, good gracious! This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword could serve as a fallacy.
Ooh, as a phallus.
I beg your pardon. You do not say phallus in a courtroom. That's foul.
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider if this trial were to end now. The news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he let nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Whoa. All right then. How do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end?
Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales.
Now hold your horse, damn coachman. We were all in agreement.
Where would I go?
Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo.
Oh shit. We're back in the good graces.
This is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same.
Oh,
Ooh, that's spicy. Mmm.
For the love of Mike! For the love of Mike! Take your pick. Jackson, Jordan, Tyson. Game 6.
A penny can mean the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. A certain can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Naruhodo. You did it. If we can manage to change 2 jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it. Ganbate.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh high on the side of guilt. Counsel, do you have the floor again? Continue with your summation exam.
Oh boy. Let's see. It's very strange. Because he is kind of fairly simple. I don't think he's going to change his mind. There's no one else in the carriage. It's just kind of according to new facts. So I don't think he'll be able to change that. But I really want to see what this guy has to say. This guy who keeps almost threatening to stab, like, juror number 4.
He stuck the chap next to him like this.
I also like to do his voice, so I want to hear more from him.
Hold it!
Careful, you could hurt someone with that.
You want to talk? What with that sword hanging around your waist?
No, that's just my battered soul. That's the very long soul of my very good friend and partner.
Well, anyway, I despise anyone with too much money. They're all the same. All stabbing some brickmaker, others behind the scene. You mark my words.
Objection.
That seems very unlikely, doesn't it?
Are you mad, man? We know a small shorty is a rotten Shylock.
Well, yes, that does seem to be the case, but... Mr. Naruhodo, please, be careful what you say.
If he's been trying to squeeze money out of us less fortunate, then as far as I'm concerned, down with the bourgeoisie. He's guilty of sin. The man can hang. Up for the proletariat. Yes.
Come to think of it, I do side with the proletariat quite a bit. Didn't one of the other jurors have something to say about the defendant's underhanded activities? If you've thought something, Mr. Naruhodo, don't let it go. Test your theory.
Test your might. Test your sight.
No time like the present to use the Y button in this wonderful year of 1900. Simply typed out all of the statements.
Good Beppo, this trial has to continue, you fucking asshole.
This scoundrel stabbing the poor man. Let's see it, Becker's belief. Oh, bugger. Oh, this beggar pugger. Picka peppa piper. Let's see. Maybe I can change the hearts and minds of this old woman. Because she changed her mind really quickly, thinking that, what's it called? Mr. McGilded was nice.
Hold it.
I really think you should stop waving that needle around.
heard what the old coachman said before, didn't you? The hideous man stabbed the poor fellow, just like this.
Yes, that's what he said. You're right.
McGilded Park was such a lovely little place too. I've always enjoyed resting my legs there while I get working on my knitting. And I have thought that anyone who donated such a delightful place must be a fine fellow indeed. But he has a tacky hat, and he is a tacky man. Whoever thought he was a miserable murdering money launderer with no scrap of remorse, the little fucker!
Oh, help. Old lady said fuck. She's as sure as she can be that he's guilty now. The old lady certainly seems to know her mind, doesn't it? I think I know what to do. So we just need to find 2 jurors. Pit them against each other. If I'm going to pit 2 people against each other, maybe I'll do the ones with blades. That way we could have like a full-on knife fight in here. The guy in the middle and the girl with the little like stabbing thing. I mean, what's it called? Like the guy has a little kind of experience in shanking people, but like that old lady, like she's probably had some wartime experience. It's so much easier said than done. Is that perhaps what you were trying to think? How did you know? Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in case you happen to find yourself in a situation like this. Shall I read? It's a little bit long. Not right now. I'm good. I know who to pit against. I know who will be exciting to watch fight.
Round.
There we go. I know. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, Sasato. Ooh, I'm admirable. I'll listen to assertions one more time.
He stopped the chap.
There was no one else inside.
Round 2. Fight!
Objection!
Those 2 statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, counsel. Post haste.
Oh dear me! I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is this old claptrap? What does contradictory shit even mean, I ask of you? What is this contradictory shite?
We've heard from more than one witness that they all allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3.
What? Can't you see I'm busy here? I'm etching out one of those little S's into the floor so that I can leave my mark on British courtroom history.
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Ha! Want to test me, do ya? Well, I'll demonstrate right on you, you little bastard. It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without getting up, just like a prim banker said.
Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony, quite true. You're parroting his words.
Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, it's me, isn't it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed a poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Wait a second. He either was stabbed on the floor or was stabbed in the gut. Now don't move! Okay, I'm not moving. Oh, I'm not moving. Take a look at those 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor.
Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions.
What? Well, bless my stitches. What a muddle with all these bitches.
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh? But why? Why the dickens would they lie?
I don't know that yet. But what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide by people telling lies. What a pretty fire. What an even prettier fire. Oh, the fire is mine. The scales.
I don't believe it.
Ooh, it's even. Is even Steven.
Wait. Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man, this charlatan. Look at him, in his black suit, in his little buttons, in his little furry hair. I'm going to be saying something racist about him. He has laser beams and magic. He's a sorcerer, you know. We've heard all kinds of stories about mysticism from the books. All kinds of things about...
If I could use my magic, do you think I'd be putting myself through all this shit?
Answer me this, Doc Jinx.
Me?
What exactly is your fucking problem? What of it if two witnesses have the slight different recollection of the events?
What of it?
Let's say the Psylocke did stab the victim as he sat next to him on the omnibus, and the young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, then the Psylocke stabbed him again, and this old lady saw him. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that,
Who you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you. I'm not a dandy man from space who loves booty. Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you.
They're ready to kill each other now. I've already did my job then. I think that I can let this jury stand and do as they wish. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? No. It's the children who are wrong. I'm not out of touch. Let them fight. Let's mirror the exact words of a Mr. Ken Watanabe and let them fight. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you Doc Jinx? Come on, out with it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
What are you talking about? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As a foreman of the jury, I'm responsible to steer everyone in the right direction.
Yeah, well, you're doing a very shitty job at it.
So where's your evidence, bro? What? That's what we can see. I saw the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me proof.
It looks like the only way I'm going to convince them is to present them with something they can't dismiss. Something irrefutably hard. Like myself. As you wish.
What?
I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw the two different moments, as proven by, let's see, a single stab wound to the abdomen, so he wasn't stabbed twice.
Take that!
Whatever I say. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once.
Only once.
It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times.
Alright, I could see defeat.
Alright. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning non-guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! Oh man.
What are you playing at, you dandy fool?
Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. I put it in out of spite because you keep calling me the Space Dandy. I'll let you know I'm a fan of boobs, not booty.
But we had a contract.
I said shut your pie hole. I know a liar when I see one.
Oh, hi Kirby, how's it going? Oh, it's nice to see you. Alright, we are actually turning this trial around because we were able to convince the jury to keep this trial going. So I am going to dig deeper into this. I'm really glad that you're doing okay. I've been doing really great as well. I feel a lot more motivated, a lot more energetic now that I'm like, at least like kind of like part way through this, and I'm like reading everything out and I'm getting my voices all back. But it's really fun to read all of this and to be able to get further in. I was here earlier but couldn't speak because follow wait time. I'm really sorry about the wait time. I'm not sure if there was a... Let me see if there's like some kind of chat setting on like, let's see. Shield mode, emotes, manage moderation settings. Let's see. If I can put followers only mode, let's do any followers. I'm sorry about that. That was a, I guess me trying to do a 10-minute, I guess, kind of stretch. Mostly just kind of, I moved on to a new like tower, like a new PC. So a lot of my settings like didn't carry over. So I had to just kind of go by default and hope for the best. But sometimes the best ain't the best. And I have a few issues. Hold on. Let me try to at least see if I can get the chat settings off. There we go. Now that's very good to have people so people don't rush and be cringe. Oh no, it's mostly just kind of like, I guess stuff where I think maybe there was something going on where it was mostly just kind of like, I feel like it was the transfer over. I think a lot of my OBS settings had to be defaulted. So I had to go back in and retool it. But the 10-minute stretch mark was kind of something I didn't take into account. But yeah. It's good to have you on board, and it's good that I was able to get that. Where now that I have all of that sort of taken out of the way, I will be able to, what's it called? Make sure that everyone can, like, comment once they come along and see how things are with this game. But yeah, this guy is not really happy being called a dandy. He is, oh, or was that? No shit. Fuck. Sorry, I'm like, his story.
If the chap ever.
Oh, fuck. No. Sorry, my buttons are all in black too. How do I pull this up? No. What's the button for the... I know it's X. It's history. Fuck, no. None of these words are in the Bible. There we go. Oh no. Fuck. What is going on?
The defense submission exam.
Continue. Let me see.
The juror stands 2 for guilty, 4 for innocent. Accordingly, there's no longer a large enough majority, and the trial must continue.
Oh, now it's on. Oh no. Let me check. How do I get autoplay off?
I call upon all of you to continue saying the truth. So Lord Van Zeeks continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you could please.
Oh, there we go. Now the triangle's letting me do it. Let's see. Let me try to narrate what we had.
No one deceived.
But we have a
I know a lion. If the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head.
Please tell me he's a barber. While the defense has flipped the balance of the scales. Accordingly, the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense prosecution to return the places, and I call upon all to continue in their pursuit of the truth. Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
That dandy guy might be the murderer, threatening a lot of people with murder. I feel like the dandy dude is very suspicious. He hates the rich. He really wanted to see him guilty. It would take a lot off of him if he declared him innocent at this point. Ooh, he's mad. Having savored the rich aroma of calming contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Oh, Lord Van Zeeks.
Brr. It is cold in here, is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. But it seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Oh man, that's fucking rude. Don't insult the jury. They're my friends. I'm on their side now. You're stepping on a lot of people's toes by doing this. Well, no matter. There's nothing so hard to prove as a self-sufficient and self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would I grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more.
Hey.
Witnesses. I trust you've heard the summation exam we just had to endure.
Oh, yes, sir. I don't need, sir.
Of course I heard it.
Oh, yes, sir. I heard it.
You, sir, on the end. The coachman. I believe it's Beppo. One of Juror 5 wants to murder you.
Oh, yes, sir. My lord, sir.
It may transpire that your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of the fifth passenger in your omnibus. It was flat out bullshit. You will be found guilty of perjury. You will be advised to bear that in mind, sir.
Oh, mio Dio.
Now then, witnesses, I call upon you to testify the court again. You will explain the various misgivings you've brought upon the attention by the defense's summation examination.
Never cared for passengers that night. I swear it. Bottom.
Well, I for one was told that I had to pay 5 pence for the bus.
He fiddled with us on the fair, he did. And then I saw the blood-curdling sight as well. It was all too much.
I tell you, I saw Mr. McGilded stab the man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh, yes, stabbed the man, he did. I think so, yes.
Council, make sense of this for me, please. I don't like to have my own opinion, and I want it to be solved for me and digested for me.
The phantom fifth passenger conjured into an existence by the learned Eastern friend never existed. The prosaic confusion has arisen of the coachman's sly little cousinage.
Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fares are 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you're overcharging your passengers by the penny a fare?
I am ripping off people. It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
I'm so sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh man, the jury turning against the witness.
Fight. Let them fight more. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence for the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the results come out differently. No, that figures.
Well, it would appear one of our aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. The foreman's a cheat. Counsel of the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely! If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, Van Zeeks! Oh. Lock eyes from across the room. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Only carried 4 passengers. I, for one, was told the 5 pence. You got ripped off. He fiddled us on the fare. And then I saw the sight. Let me move a little bit. Let me see the icon. Little diamonds. It's all too much. Oh, no. 5 pence. Tell you, I saw him stab the man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. What do you mean you think so? I think so doesn't stand up in court, just as it is cheating people on the fare. Hold it! Hold it! Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, did you?
Oh, yes, that's right.
You said the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife with an ice pick grip.
I suppose. I'm ahead of you now, yes. I put the cart before the horse, maybe.
What's this?
Well, I'm quite certain most of it was driving the horse when I heard the scream from the streets of the roof deck. Oh, I expected that was me, sir. When I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor and the knife was just sticking out of his mum midriff. Oh, that's right, sir. And the fellow holding the cannon was the famous Spaniard.
So in short, Beppo's putting his reputation 6 feet under in one day. Yeah, this dude's like really just, it's piling up. Like, it ended up being a trial for McGilded, but it wound up being like an absolute indictment on Beppo. Not only not really being able to be an unreliable, trustworthy, like, I guess, witness in all of this, but also overcharging people.
I really thought I did, but when I could go over it again in the head, no, I suppose I didn't see the precise moment of this.
What the fuck? Oh, daddy. Oh. What is this pose? This is that whole like. What is this? It's supposed to be a fucking damn it. You were supposed to be trustworthy and I didn't trust you. But this is like weirdly erotic. All right, let me press this dude. Let me press this dude. No, stop, PlayStation controller. Oh, come on, PlayStation.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, miss. Excuse me. Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the precise moment this fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that?
Pressing him doesn't help the case. He's just complaining. Are you asking me or are you telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information of him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? No chance! That's what you've got now. Well, it's a little hard to believe, sir. Unless you spend your time peeping through the skylight in the top of the omnibus, that is.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And all I know is what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairplay.
Oh, excuse me, I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord.
I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about exactly what you saw.
Oh, I can do all that, all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed the man?
So, hold on a sec. I heard that there is a little something on these gloves that I would love to look into. Oh fuck, no. Come on, blood-soaked.
Well, perhaps soap just laid on a bit thick, but anyway, there's definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
You saw that from the roof, through the skylight.
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had pretty good view. And there was a lamp inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw.
This banker's last statement. I feel sure that something's not quite right. When you feel something's right, that's when you should have a look at the court record. And that is when, Somehow we managed to keep our chances alive. Come on.
let's go through that. Can't waste this Chronicles examination. I have to use it to bring new facts to light. If you're not careful, you're going to be in big doo-doo. Maybe, but I can't help but fear about new info. Oh. Yes, you're right. I need to be making careful attention. I don't want to miss a thing. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses, use your controller to pursue them. Let's see. Hold on, let me go with the gloves. I need to... It's gonna look a lot like... Let's open up that courtroom, baby. Let's see. Can't find anything out of place. It would be this blood.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands?
Well, I admit the soap might be laying it on a bit thick. But anyway, there's definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
Ooh, I love the little sassy little arch he has, you know. A little...
What?
Here there are gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGill did on the night in question.
Oh, yes. Right.
And there certainly doesn't appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-handed glove.
Oh, I'm going to suck off this big cane of mine.
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent.
Yeah? But no, that can't be right.
So you're the liar then?
That's right. You were certainly quite clear about it.
You said, it was both hands.
Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justifiably be accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Well, why, I'm a city banker. For pity's sake, my word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe.
Ooh, the gutter snipe word is such a funny word.
Not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate.
Prevaricate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie.
But is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo,
He looks like he's signing into his cane. If you had evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Let's tip the scales. I have evidence.
I've got evidence.
My lord,
Yes, counsel.
the defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes. Evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in his testimony. Very well.
I will call upon the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates the motive for the witnesses deception.
Let's see that ledger. Let's open it up. Let's crack it open, buddy. Must contain all sorts of secrets to London's gentry. Oh, clear. You think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we have any London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. I assure you will not find Mr. Shome's name inside. Well, let's see what we can find. Take a look, it's in a book, The Reading Rainbow. I can find anything, especially Bruce Fairplay's name. Who's to blame in the reading a rainbow? Not everyone is well. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this, do you see the name here?
Bruce Fairplay.
Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh, yes, of course. The banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, didn't he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course. But this could be very useful info. Oh, someone's a little suspicious. Let's throw this at him. Let's throw the book. Take that! Take that! This is a list of debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims, crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, well, it's barely worth being called a debt.
According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, would you say?
Well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. That would become your debt. What would become of your debt in this case?
These documents state the loan guarantee-ment forged between the two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were to be owed to him will be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something, in fact, that you never saw, in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant?
Order. Order. Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Yes, my lord.
Let me ask you again. To be aware of your answer may have the most serious implications of your future, sir. You may be facing a most certain death in the basement of Hogwarts. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in which the defendant is alleged to have thrust the knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony.
Alright, now let's not make a melodrama from this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth in a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. The beat to Becky will play in the background while I make my point. I definitely remember seeing blood on Mr. McGilded's hands, both of them.
And yet, only one of the defendant gloves which we have here as evidence is stained.
So you keep saying?
I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the truth is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happened.
Seeing what?
The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. Yes, I'm almost certainly sure it was on both of his hands, not just one.
What? What?
It would appear we're going to need further testimony. This time, I'd like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Yes.
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The court of the trial seems to be having shifted slightly at last. Yes. I might have a chance to turn things around here. What the witnesses really saw.
There's blood on both heads of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't see it precisely myself, no. Not until I heard the scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we would have been seen.
Well, lo and behold, in truth of the fact, not one of your witnesses to the crucial moment in the crime have perpetuated.
I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there's no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw him do it.
That's really not what the testimony's about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the account. In other words, there's no substantial nor significant change in the facts in this case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Let's see. There was blood on both hands. We'll show you. I suppose you might say it's two. Remember seeing the knife. I didn't actually see it. Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage. Or we would have been certain. Let's give that a sec. Everything you saw in the incident was through the skylight of the omnibus, but you're clearly not trustworthy.
That's right. I was fiercely cold at night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, I was so bitter.
Which rather begs to question why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck of the first place.
Well, I don't know about this fellow, but I couldn't have entered the cabin.
Oh, why not?
It was locked from inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked.
That's right. And it's a public service bus, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play.
Much like your last name.
Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down. I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence, if there was anyone else in the cabin, I would have noticed.
Unequivocally, I'd say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they have seen everything inside? Something tells me they might not have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events through the skylight and the floor in the upper hand. Is that it?
That's right, sir.
In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight for you.
What?
My golly, really?
Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. At the time of the incident, there couldn't have been another passenger in the closed cabin on the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Japanese friend. I'm going to say Japanese instead of Nipponese. I'm not really sure if that's... I feel like part of me feels like dirty reading it. So like I'm going to just electively try to soften up any of the prejudice I see in the dialogue. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh.
Very well. I will uphold the prosecution's demand.
You'll identify in the cross-section of the omnibus. Let's see. Where exactly in this omnibus are you suggesting this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Well, let's see. The bottom left. The bottom right. I guess if you're kind of in the seats, if you're in the back seats here, if you're in the back seat, you're not going to be able to see people on this side. So, let's go with a little bit of the bottom right seats.
Take that!
Both rows of the seats on the floor face the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Ugh. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposing one of which the victim and the passenger side is obscured from the view. In other words, if someone had been sitting in that seat, it's quite possible these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Let's see, it's getting to be 7:20, so I am going to probably stop around 8. It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Japanese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Look, your experience with Japanese people has begun and ended with just me. So, your assumptions that I obscure the truth with ambiguity is just because I personally obscure truth with ambiguity. But you're also a little afraid to be a little bit wrong.
I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In British court of law, evidence is tantamount, and I am also very severely prejudiced. I cannot attain this conjecture, counsel. That is until you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger of whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo?
I think I know who might be in the room. Who could it have been? Who could have been the other passenger, which was out of sight and out of mind? I have an inkling. I have a squid. I am a squid and I am a kid. I know I have an inkling. The defense would like to put a name. I would like a sippy of my wonderful grape juice. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned.
Let us not delay, counsel. The defense has to name the passenger on the other side.
This could be it. This could have been the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seats in the omnibus was none other than... You actually, guys, y'all didn't see Magnus McGilded. I think it was Magnus. I think that he was obscured from the view.
Take that!
The passenger in the... I'm going to take a little pee break, but I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Man, I just saw something really funny. It was the, what's it called? The footage from, like, the new Gollum game. It was something where, like, I do a really... I hate to be like this, but I have a spot on Gollum.
I can just stop into this. Oh, we're going to go back into court, and we're going to make sure that this man is made guilty. Oh, no. We're supposed to be saying he's innocent. You do not know what innocent is. I saw him. He's guilty of sin. Oh no. We're the defendant. We're supposed to be the defendant in this. Of course. You're not the defendant. You're the prosecutor. You're the prosecutor who drinks wine. You must declare him guilty.
But, it's funny to look at the alpha footage, and it's like,
oh, my face looks so terrible. These bad graphics. To think the PlayStation 5 could make me look like this. It ruined it.
Alright, sorry. That was just a little showcase, but we are going to go back into this trial. Oh, thanks, I'm on it. The passenger in this closed cabin that the witness on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded.
Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, Counsel? What is the name of the defendant?
Objection!
You made me throw my wine in anger. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive my discourtesy.
Lord Van Zeeks, I expect you'll pay for that vase. You'll pay for the chandelier.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the far east as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see that they're very mean to me and happen to constantly be refuting my info. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in words that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. Here, let me pull up the urban dictionary I have for things I may call a Japanese defendant. Oh, that's a spicy one. I should use that in my private life. Oh, this one's a little bad. Maybe I should use that one. Focus, Bladzeeks, focus. I can't just be throwing slurs out in the middle of this presentation. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Wait, bloody scene. Does he mean the scene is bloody, or like bloody is in like the British like additive? Like, oh, the bloody scene. Or, oh, the bloody scene. Multiple witnesses can attest to the fact, and it is the very premise on which this case was built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim was really sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, Counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to them.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of the events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on the passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was it, this third party? Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary. Order, order, order. Order, 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 order. Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense postulating is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly said they saw the accused. But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though.
Oh, it's getting spicy.
That's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir.
In what particular style of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
I'm afraid I don't remember.
And you call yourself a hatter?
The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in the cabin. How can you be so sure? Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilton would no doubtedly offer to depose the fact. Unless, that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. And that the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin which he traveled. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin, it is inconceivable that Mr. McGilton would have been unaware of it.
Warder, there's clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused Mr. McGilton to the stand.
Well, what do you say, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he had already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's a reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilton is no uneducated ruffian. If indeed it turns out the man has been withholding information, how you can be sure that it will have been a most deliberate act?
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask him to testify or not? We will demand, because he did pass out. I think he passed out. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilton to the stand.
In that case, I'd like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Yes,
I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilton has to say. Get the men out here, yes, I say! It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
when something needs done, gets it done. That's how we run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely.
It's getting good, Amanda, yeah? It's getting really solid. I'm loving what's going on here.
Yes, the jury must be heard.
Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the testament to the defendant to the stand at once.
Alright. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally be revealed.
Let's proceed. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilden, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? As it turns out, there's somebody who happens to be learning about the Smeagol video game. Oscar has come out on Guilty Gear Strive. Oshinoko is currently trending, as is Capcom, as is Anime North, as is Vash the Stampede and JoJo. Have you been keeping up with the local trending news?
To be sure, I have, my lord.
I've been keeping up with it, I have. Oh, I've been watching a lot of Trigun Stampede. I've been looking forward to Street Fighter 6. I've been looking forward to playing as Asuka from Guilty Gear Strive. I've been watching a lot of Oshinoko. It's very astounding how that girl was able to channel Ai Hoshino in her acting. Quite astounding, I would say.
There are two matters which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police?
Begad, no! 'Tis not in my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the fucking question, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all, or keep me mouth shut?
Tell us what Mr. McGill did.
The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true.
Aye, and 'twas me who helped with the little urchin get away after all it happened.
You...
What?
No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you've been wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good explanation, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are quite easily damaged, my lord.
And who was this young child with whom you speak?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolute no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in the courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
What? Oh man, someone got shot? Oh man, fire! There's a fire! Someone's trying to get away! After them! There's no excuse! I can't see through this smoke! What's going on? Careful, Mr. Naruhodo, cover your face! Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I hereby call emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
Oh fuck. That's really good. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Somebody lit a fire in the courtroom. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over another, in a desperation to flee the chamber, we had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. This is a little much. I know I'll be heading out in 20 minutes, but this has been a very awesome time. I need a save. Yes. Part 3. Fart 3.
Hold on a sec.
I just gotta stretch a bit. All right. Let's go on these last 20 minutes for part 3 of this trial. There's the Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened here? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told that it was an advanced form of a smoke grenade, a kind of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? Definitely sounds like a thing ninjas use. Man. Not people going Call of Duty in the middle of the courtroom. They're just making sure everything's safe now. The trial will start again soon. But who could have done something like that? The police managed to find somebody who was trying to flee the courtroom. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, a young girl of about 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded just talked about? Full speed ahead. That's right, Kirby 950. Full speed ahead. My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. What's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what is she doing here at this trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh yeah? According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at the fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange.
Counsel to defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial is to recommence in 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. Well, we'll know soon enough, Miss Sato. Yes. Let's see. 18th February. Old Bailey once again. Oh man, there's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume for the trial of Mr. McGilded. Therefore, Lord Van Zeeks,
My lord.
I believe you've established the cause of the smoke, which veiled proceedings earlier.
It seems to have been an advanced form of a smoke grenade, employed by the army.
Good gracious, the army. What in the devil's name? What in Shakespeare's arse is that?
It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery. But she was caught and now occupies the stand.
Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in the courtroom? What in the fuck is this deplorable behavior?
If I may, my lord,
Yes, Mr. McGilded.
I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why, it's that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt off like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of the night, so it seems.
Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You will explain the court exactly how this young woman was involved.
Just what happened that night. It's not like the defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Let's see. The young girl.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Oh, then begorra, a long thud and wee scream woke me up in the fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I stand up on the seat across from me. Then I turned over to find where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
I remain somewhat baffled, I confess. From what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding the omnibus. Is that correct?
'Tis exact on the defense's counsel said. This lass is the 5th passenger, my lord.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. So we're gonna press all of these. We gotta see what his perspective is.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and nodded off.
And when you first got into the omnibus, were there other passengers on board?
There were not. The cabin was empty, and no one in the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as it were, it seems.
Aye, and that's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is.
Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat?
By all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite of the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed in was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoyed gazing through the sunlight from time to time as well. The skylight.
Then begorra. Hold it. What is a begorra? a loud thud, you say? In a scream?
Aye, that's right. How do I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of something falling on the ground. What sort of noise?
Do you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling on the floor having been stabbed?
Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage, but a fella on the floor.
You didn't see anyone, but at the same moment you did hear a scream.
From the seats above on the roof deck, I presume?
Not above me, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. Oh, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes. There was a fella collapsed at the floor at me feet.
You sat him up? The victim, you mean?
That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone.
And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you?
'Tis common courtesy, so it seems.
I find that a little hard to believe.
Oh, Laura. Ara.
Come into mommy's lap, Lord Van Zeeks. Why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet. At the carriage, any normal person would hail a cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, it is.
Well now, as you know, I'm something of a special line of business.
The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest.
Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would have even seen me dead. But I do try, whenever at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle of trouble.
Are you suggesting that you're just gonna leave the man there?
Heavens alive, no! I was already intending on reporting it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first.
The whys and wherefores?
Right you are. There's some details I've been wanting to understand before. Anyone else got to be meddling. That wee scream I heard, for instance. Wouldn't your good self do just the same?
Yes, the scream he says he heard at the time is the thud of the victim collapsing.
Then I turned to find where the scream had come from.
I'm afraid I don't understand. But you sure told the courtroom there was no one else in the carriage except for you and the victim.
So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is.
What do you mean by that?
Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar language, under me backside.
Good gracious.
Under your backside?
And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubby hole there for storage.
Mr. Naruhodo, can we examine the omnibus ourselves? Yes, the evidence. That would be very good time to have a thorough look around inside.
And that's when I found her.
Hold on. Let's see that. Let's see where he might have had a very interesting fart. Let's get on inside. Let's get inside this bad boy. He farted himself awake.
Oh, how undignified. I farted and me backside blew up. I farted and the thing blew up.
Okay, so that's the that is the bench. So it would be like, hold on, down here. There we go. Under the chair. The seat has a handle, it seems. Oh, there was a person inside of there. This is a storage compartment, but nothing in there. Totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Ooh, oh my. Oh my goodness. There'll be blood and stuff. That's blood, isn't it? No, it's just, well, this bloodstain's so obvious. Yet Van Zeeks made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a bit strange. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Okay.
Someone's in big duty. I wonder if I click on this and it's the exact same thing. Storage container, totally empty. There we go. Let me get out of here. No, let me get out of here. Let me out. A child hiding her wee self. You say she was hiding herself.
Aye, that's right. 'Twas hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball when our eyes met well. Me heart nearly stopped beating out me chest.
You're really overreacting.
Still, and all, I pulled her from under there and sat her on the seat opposite of what I had a wee chin rag on her.
The seat opposite.
Oh, that's right. Just next to the dead gentleman there.
You
sat the young girl next to the corpse.
Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can be all too often finding himself in mortal danger. So, I need to find out just who this little urchin was, you see? And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time.
Presumably the scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats.
Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down from the skylight under the chair, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly.
In other words, the previous witnesses did not see you at all, Mr. McGill did. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
Aye, my lord. It was, as I think everyone understands now, sat on the carriage outside the site.
Certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl.
After all, of course. With the scream of the gentleman over us, the driver realized something on and pulled over the horses.
Thank you, I've heard enough.
I think I'm gonna stop here. I think just because, like, it's starting to get a little late. I'm starting to get really hungry. I have some burritos in my name, so I'm gonna have to... Oh, I'm starting to get really hungry. I think I might just have some... Yeah, I think I might just stick with, like, the burritos and leave you all on this note of finding out this new testimony about Chapter 3. I feel like we're nearing the tail end, so I have a really good feeling about this. Alright. Exit game. Let's save one more time. One more time. Burritos. Yeah, it's a really good one. I got like a spicy I got a really spicy bean one. This is really good. This place makes them like really just kind of like, it was like borracho beans, like kind of like the ones where they stew it in beer a bit. It's really good. It really hits the spot. But I will be heading out now. Thank you so much, guys. It was really nice to be able to do all this. I'm really hoping that a lot of my voice work helps make a lot of the Ace Attorney stuff a little more exciting to watch. And I hope that I was able to entertain you all. I will leave you off with my old staple thing of, being that this is a cafe, one of my main expertises is being able to poke my beauty mark as an alien. Being able to poke that little mug and being able to imbue whoever touches the mug with a little excitement or encouragement. Something to really carry through the day. Almost kind of like a Whole Foods kind of like energy shot or like immunity shot. So I'm going to poke my microphone with my beauty mark finger, and you should be able to enjoy all kinds of different streams coming up. I know there's quite a few people on there, so I'm sure it'll be exciting to be able to come across the next VTuber streamer that you stream on this gilded, Thursday.
I'll see you all later. Bye now.